And they still allow him to kneel during the Star-Spangled Banner. They allow him to do what they told him. Stay home. I don't care. You know why he doesn't care? Because he's getting paid millions of dollars to play. He could give a darn. And they should make an example out of him like they did Colin Kaepernick. Don't employ him. Get rid of him. Bench him. Vernon told the Post that whether he kneels during away games or home games, he says he receives flack from those in the stands. You hear crowds, you hear coward and stand up and disgrace, Vernon said, of those shouting from the stands. It's fine as long as nobody comes on the field and touches me. You stay where you're at, or you're going to be, you're not going to be all right if you come in, because I have the right to defend myself. If they don't like it, then don't come to the game. And Vernon noted that he'll continue to kneel for the betterment of black communities within the United States. He says, at the end of the game, you want to fight for something that's right, Vernon explained, causing people to be very, very upset about this. And subsequently, he is pointing out to the league's offer to contribute nearly $100 million to causes considered important to African-American communities in exchange for just one thing: for NFL players to end the kneeling protests. $100 million to the National Negro Foundation and to other causes that are near and dear. But that's not enough. Not so far, anyways. At least some type of change that can help. Something that can help, Vernon added. I feel like it's a small step, but it's progress for me kneeling. The defensive end concluded, I'm fine where I'm at right now. Ain't nothing wrong with feeling bad for what you believe in. What's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. I stand behind my beliefs. Well, brother, don't be dissing our flag or dissing our country. And with Colin Kaepernick, I just have to spend a second on this here and just something to ponder, because this is the guy who pretty much ignited the whole firestorm about it. Colin Kaepernick, by the way, was disowned by his parents. They didn't want him. Okay, and that happens with a lot of kids, where their parents give them up for adoption. They give them up to somebody else. But you know who raised Colin Kaepernick? Whites. White people. And now he doesn't like white people very much. Yeah. And his parents that raised him, they're really not digging what Colin Kaepernick's doing. Yeah, this is what Obama did. Yeah, he had a white mama. Mama raised him. But it's this race baiting. Look at my color of my skin. Look at me. A lot of these injustices of our country, and I am sick and tired of hearing has garbage going on, is that a lot of these cases, not all, but a lot of these cases where there's police brutality, the black person or the minority or the white person, so I don't want to just marginalize it just to one, they were doing something wrong. They were breaking the law, robbing. They were grabbing for a gun. They were threatening law enforcement officials. Now, Monday, we have a broadcast that's going to talk about how police brutality kills and killing the wrong people and officers getting away with it. There is such thing as police brutality. But unfortunately, a high level amount of crimes in this country are committed by minorities. By blacks. A lot. Look at the crime statistics. It's not fair. Nobody said anything was fair, but who's committing the crimes in the first place? But they got to make it a black and white issue. And I'm just, for one, tired of it. I don't have a racist bone in my body at all. I grew up in New Jersey. I finished school in New York City. I didn't know anybody racist that lived in New York or Philadelphia or Los Angeles or D.C. I had radio careers in all of those markets. I live in Tampa, Florida. I don't know anybody racist here. Maybe the outskirts. You might have a few people that say some offbeat things. There might be some people that feel differently about colors or other races, not just black. But racism goes both ways. There's blacks that don't like whites too much, and Colin Kaepernick's one of them. I think Colin Kaepernick's a racist. And I also think ex-President Barack Obama is too. I know, that's controversial. But folks, I believe it. Because the way that he mucked things up with the Justice Department and their investigation with Trayvon Martin. Remember where he came on and said something like, hold on, let's see if I can get Obama. If I had a son, that's what he'd look like. Trayvon Martin. That's who he'd be. Trayvon Martin, you look at him and look at him really closely. That could have been your son. Forget about what he was doing. Forget about his behavior. Forget about any of those things that he was doing. And just look at his skin. And just made it a color thing. Instead of what he was doing was wrong, he was breaking the law. It was tragic that he ended up dead. And I honestly say that. It was very sad that he died. Or anybody that ends up dying because of doing something dumb. But it shouldn't be a shocker that this happens. You know, preventative maintenance goes a long way with a vehicle, and it also does with human beings. With all these monies that go into all these funds and all these so-called charities, and a lot of them, they have these hierarchies, ivory tower offices where everybody gets paid these exuberant salaries to just look important and dress nicely and have nice meals, but actually do what a lot of these inner city ministries do and set up small churches and small homes that actually care for them and actually mentor these young people so they're not on the street selling drugs and getting in trouble, getting into these crime-ridden areas. Come on, Colin. Put your money where your mouth is, buddy. Stop kneeling, get off the field, and go into these inner cities and start loving on some of these minorities that need a little love and need some guidance. So they know somebody really cares about them. Mother Teresa kind of stuff. Okay? Yeah, Mother Teresa of Calcutta. She's been canonized. Good thing miracles happened. Miracles ain't happening on the field with you kneeling. Shame on you. Shame on you. I think it's grandstanding. Grandstanding. It's like, you know what? A lot of these protesters, they act like they're on the plantations picking cotton again. Yes, mister. Yes, mister. Yeah, mister. But you are on the field playing football in America, and you are a free man. Making millions of dollars, my friend. What the hell do you have to complain about? This is just ridiculous. Something to be a victim about. I am going to wear this as a badge of honor. Get off it already. Stop playing the race card. I am friends with a lot of conservatives and business owners that own businesses throughout the Tampa Bay area, and they're about tired of it. Sick of it. To see what's going on in this country. Play ball. It's the reason why ESPN has to fire all these people because they can't afford them. ESPN, they can't afford employees. Skeleton crew. because advertisers are dropping like flies because they got political. Shame on them, but they're paying. They're reaping the benefits from what they've sown. And I tell you what, I am with Donald Trump saying, like, if that SOB doesn't want to get off his knees, then man, just eject him from the game. Put him. He's not playing. Get him off the field. Stop it already. We don't need this. Our men in military and our veterans don't deserve this. You want to be on a cause, do it off the field. And why do you have to be seen anyway? You know, I do a lot of things that nobody knows about. You know, if I go do something nice for somebody, I don't always say who I did it for or what I did, gave somebody money or visited somebody or this or that type of person to pat myself on these shows. Oh, what a great, just do it. Or open up yourself a foundation that really touches people's lives meaningfully. At kneeling, it just aggravates and pisses people off. Like I say, next week we're going to be talking about some instances where real brutality happened. We'll hear real news stories where factual stories happen. We'll have facts. We'll have people on their families have been affected from bad cops. There's bad things that do happen in the country, and that's bad. But there's a positive, productive way to go about doing it. And this organization that we're going to talk to has nothing to do with kneeling. Nothing to do about it at all. It's about seeking justice. And that's what we all should be striving for and doing it in better ways, more meaningful ways, but not doing it in the football fields and not doing it in our movies and not doing it, on news channels and all that, gunking it up when I'm just wanting to get the straight news. Shut up. I'm saying if something's really important to you, then really show us it's important to you. That's not showing. And that's not what people go to the games for. It's not what people signed up for when they bought their ticket. The NFL needs to really get their crap together or they're going to lose so much money it's not going to be funny. I hear people that have decided to go ahead and buy tickets to hockey games and to baseball games and find another sport. And baseball, you don't see that going on in baseball, do you? You don't see that in hockey. You don't see that going on, do you? No, it's got to be the NFL. Somebody said, "Oh yeah, it's coming." Well, we better set an example. That is something that you want to do. Go kneel in the locker room. Oh, better yet, I got an idea for you. Here's an idea. Why don't you kneel in the shower? Kneel in the shower. You might get what you got coming to you. No pun intended. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis said on Thursday that he, and that's today. No, it's yesterday, by the way. God, it's Friday already. Yes, it is. TGIF. He still had confidence in diplomacy for North Korea. And the United States would be unrelenting in working through the United Nations. He says, I am not willing to say that diplomacy has not worked. We will continue to work diplomatically. We will continue to work through the United Nations, the United Nations Security Council, and will be unrelenting in that, Mattis said before the start of a meeting with Libyan Prime Minister at the Pentagon. And at the same time, diplomats will speak from a position of strength because we do have military options. Oh, yeah, they're well and alive. There's another launch, by the way, that could be taking place because almost immediately after earlier this week's launch, they're making preparations for another launch. We don't know what the payload might be, could be. The Pentagon's trying to study it very, very closely. But I believe these are the days where we're going to probably see some military activity. And it's been building up, and it's never been so strong, the sound of war, according to our own defense minister, have said that this is at an all-time high, and the readiness right now is on the highest alert in the North Korean Peninsula and around